start.
about.
Dallas Cowboys, the day yesterday, Jerry Jones allegedly not knowing the agent's name, which I don't know if I believe. Was that negotiation or was that negligence?
Closer to the former, I think. I mean, look, Jerry's more with it than you want to give him credit for, and I think there's a level of frustration that was coming out in yesterday's comments because I think Jerry's done this for over the years where he's met with the player like, hey, come on, you want to be here, we want you here, right? So, yeah, I think the idea that those old tricks don't work anymore probably frustrates Jerry,
right?
And so I think maybe he thought he and Micah had an understanding, and then it goes back to the agent, and well, wait a minute, now we're not as close to a deal as Jerry thought we were, and I think he heard a little of that frustration coming out yesterday.
Graz, staying with the contract extensions, Jed York, CEO of the 49ers, made it sound like the ball was in Brock Purdy's court in terms of getting a contract extension done. Where do things stand right now between the 49ers and Purdy?
They always do that, right? Like if they want the fan base to know that if this doesn't get done, it's not our fault. Right? Like we made an offer that we like. Look, I think it's just one of those deals that's going to take the bulk of the offseason to get done. I mean, look, sometimes you see the player push to get it done before, the OTA start. Jalen Hurts a couple years ago, like it was important to him to start the offseason program with a contract. But, as a result, you may not get the contract you could get if you wait. So I think that, like, a lot of times the guy doesn't mind taking it into the offseason. I think it's very clear from both sides that Purdy will be the quarterback there long term. Where it lands, is it going to be in that $55 million a year range where, like, Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow are? Is it going to be closer to, like, that 53-ish of Jared Goff? I think that's probably the ballpark you're looking at. And I think they'll get there. What timetable, but just probably depends on who gets impatient first.
Dan, one of the big headlines coming out of the league meetings down in Palm Beach was, of course, the Tush Push. Take us through your opinion on how this is going down and if the Tush Push will be eliminated from the NFL moving forward. 2
years ago and last year at the same meeting, it was very clear that it didn't have support. The idea of banning the Tush Push didn't have support. But this year was different. They talked about it differently. They had closed-door meetings where their medical people would talk to owners and coaches and GMs and say, like, look, we don't have injury data to say this is a dangerous play. But look at it, right? At some point, somebody's going to get hurt really, really badly, and then we're going to say, like, well, why did we wait? So it feels like the league wants it out. They don't have the support yet. They need 24 votes. They only had 16. So what they're going to do is they're going to take it back to the drawing board. They're going to rewrite the proposal to basically reflect what the rule was before 2005, which was you weren't allowed, no offensive player could push any other offensive player anywhere on the field. They changed that rule because they thought it was too tough to officiate. Now they have extra expanded replay that might be able to help with that. So when they get back to their owners-only meetings in May, where there's no head coaches and GMs to kind of, bother them about it, they might have 24 votes for a newly written proposal, and you might see it banned yet.
Might. Dan Graziano, ESPN senior NFL reporter.
I am not going to sit here and predict what those billionaires are going to do.
That's just not how voting works. If you don't get the response that you want, do you just push it to another vote? I mean,
depends.
I'm thinking about The Godfather. Like, who's being naive now, Kay?
Right. No, I understand. I understand what's happening. Exactly. Graz, is Aaron Rodgers the Steelers quarterback and we just don't know it yet?
No, I don't think it's done. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like it's all him, right? Like whatever his timetable is, whatever his thinking is. No, I think there's still a chance that at the end of this he decides to hang it up. But it feels
like
we're
still there.
Oh yeah. Well, where else are you going to go?
Well, okay, so
Minnesota, no.
Well, I guess my
door is not open at all.
I think something with Minnesota. I think something bad would have to happen with J.J. McCarthy, like maybe like another significant injury.
Okay.
And then maybe they revisit that.
Is there a chance, I've been thinking about this, is there a chance he wants to get to the 22nd pick in the draft before he commits to the Steelers? In other words, let me know for sure Shador's not going to be there, Dart's not going to be there before I commit.
And I actually asked Mike Tomlin the other day at his sweaty media session that I said, does that come up? Like, has he expressed to you any concern over your draft plans at the position? He said, we have not discussed that at all. So take that for what it's worth. Like, I don't, maybe that, I don't know how that's possible, right? That hadn't come up in a 6-hour meeting at the team facility, but and the subsequent discussions. But yes, I agree with you. I think that could be on his mind, right? Am I jumping back into a situation where if I start playing poorly, they're going to want to play the rookie? And is that how I want my career to end?
And by the way, Cece, we didn't crown you. You were right. The day after free agency started, when he didn't sign, you said it's going to be till April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, CC.
You forgot about that.
I did.
What if it's till May?
Oh,
wait a minute. Are you actually wrong? That's a great question, Graz.
No, it wouldn't make him wrong. I was just
no, you did say
he said
he'll sign in April.
He said he'll sign in April.
I said it could bleed into April, didn't I?
Yeah.
We have to find the audio.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, they'll play it. If you're right, you won't.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, they'll definitely play it. Graz, yesterday we saw the NFL table the discussion around whether or not division winners should have a home game in the postseason if they don't necessarily have the best record when we start stacking it up against other teams in the conference. Now, I thought Goodell, framed it in the interest of competitive fairness and not wanting to put an inordinate amount of weight on division winners, even though they might not have the records to reflect that they're one of the best teams in their respective conferences. So where's the NFL with that discussion in comparison to years past?
I think it's about the same, which is the owners generally favor the idea of the division winner getting a home game. A home playoff game is big money, right? The owners, right? So I think there's a sense that to some extent you build your roster with the other teams in your division in mind. So like your first goal is always to try and win your division. So if you pull that off, whatever the record is that takes, they feel like you should be rewarded with that home game. I would be very, very surprised if they ever made that change.
Okay.
Dan, we talk so much about Aaron Rodgers and what he's going to elect to do with his football future, but should we be talking about Kirk Cousins and what might happen with him?
I think so, because they've made it clear, the Falcons, that they're not going to release him. But they've also kind of been making it clear in recent days that, like, hey, if you made us an offer, we'd listen. So I think as the draft gets closer, you look at, like, Cleveland at number 2, the Giants maybe at number 3. Like, if they're not going to use those picks on a quarterback, and if they can't address it satisfactorily with their second and or third round picks, then maybe on Friday or Saturday of draft weekend, you start to hear more about a possible Kirk Cousins trade. I don't know what it would take to get him. Obviously, you'd have to take on a lot of money. But, yes, I think it's possible if teams convince themselves that he's healthy. Cleveland is certainly a place that makes sense there, the connection with Kevin Stefanski from when they were both in Minnesota. I think that's something to watch. I still find it very hard to believe that Kirk Cousins is just going to be the Falcons' backup quarterback this year, as much as they say it.
No, I mean, I think it's the same thing that we talked about with Rodgers. I think he's going to wait till after the draft to make sure that he doesn't go to a team. If the Browns draft Shador, he's not going to accept a trade there.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's really what it is.
Because he has no trade clause. So
correct.
He can,
so why sign up for another version of what he has now? Let's finish with this with Dan Graziano, who was not happy that we didn't have a list of things on our board here. What do you think about torpedo bats?
I was excited. Yeah, I don't know. I'm always suspicious when it's the Yankees doing something like this.
Come on, Graz. You used to cover them all the time.
I know.
Hence why. They're tabling the vote on that, I think.
I don't know what's going to happen. Either everyone's going to start using them, and there'll be way too many home runs, and they'll find a way to legislate it out, right? Because the game will get silly, or they'll just decide preemptively that it's not cool. But yeah, I don't think it's if it's going to be like this. I don't know that that's a great thing for baseball. If everybody's going to start just mashing home runs because they got these, it reminds me of that big red plastic bat.
Back in the
back barrel.
Totally, in the backyard.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dan, this wasn't on the board, but it was relayed to me to ask
sorry,
you.
I said anything.
You just spent some time in South Florida. You were at the Breakers. Did you drop Evan Cohen's name to get a favorable discount at the Breakers?
Somebody put that in your ear just now? What is this?
Yeah, it was the last night. It was pointed out to me that you're a big presence there at the Breakers. That you
all right, Graz will be on.
I wish I had known earlier because I could have maybe got some free stuff.
Next time, Dan.
$30 for a salad. It's just not.
That is a deal
great,
there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's nice.
It's a lot more than that.
It's a nice place. Is it
for a salad
for you?
Well, no, it's less for me, more for you.
Oh,
Dan Graziano.
Less for Evan.
Quần ống lây à? Nhưng mà mặc cái đấy người cao, người gầy mặc cái gì ạ?
Nhìn nó kiểu cũng bó xong rồi dưới.
Vâng. Xin chào cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn tô tượng nhé. Tượng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là con cua. Các bạn hôm nay tượng của mình là con tắc kè. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu tô nhé.
Mấy cái quạt quanh nhà thì em thấy các quạt cũng xuông, xong kêu xuông vậy xong tất thành cắt xuông vừa không.
Thì người lùn nè. Em bị độc lạ nhá. Bây giờ con gái bây giờ kiểu mốt của con gái nó cũng là quần chặt đất cơ, quét nhà. Ngày trước chỉ có con trai thôi, bây giờ em thấy cả con gái cơ. Quần của em tất dài thế, bố em thích cực, bố em thích lắm cho mặc thế buồn cười cực. Em toàn phải đi cắt bớt.